Good afternoon. My name is Holly Hughes, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at BAI. It's our mission at BAI to provide actionable insights that help financial services leaders make smart business decisions every day. We do this by providing powerful tools, meaningful connections, and relevant content, including the insights that will be shared on today's webinar. Uniquely tied to our mission is the BAI Global Innovation Awards. Since 2011, the BAI Global Innovation Awards have recognized and honored leading financial services organizations who are changing the face of the industry, solving problems, adding value, and providing improved experiences that positively impact their customers, employees, and communities. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by a true innovator, Shadi McIsaac. Shadi is the CEO of Ownr, a platform that helps entrepreneurs start, manage, and grow their business. Under her leadership, more than 45,000 businesses have been launched on Ownr, and it's quickly become one of the fastest growing ventures within RBC Ventures. Prior to joining RBC Ventures in 2017, Shadi worked as the Director of Digital Transformation with RBC's personal and commercial banking team, where she was responsible for the strategy development of a transformation project to engage clients and prospects through data insights. RBC was selected as a Small Business Products and Services Innovation Category finalist for 2020, and we're really excited to be able to talk a little bit more about the innovation. So Shadi will take us through their innovation journey. We'll hear about key successes and lessons learned along the way. So let's go ahead and jump in. Again, Shadi, so great to have you with us, and would love to just learn more about the story, how it came to be, your journey, some of the challenges. So I think, maybe the first place for us to start is just to talk a little bit. Can you give us an overview of Ownr and why RBC Ventures decided to launch the platform?
Absolutely, Holly. Thank you, and thank you for having me on. Maybe I'll start with a quick overview of Ownr first, and then we can talk about why RBC Ventures decided to launch the business. So I think, as a lot of entrepreneurs will attest, starting a business can be really overwhelming. There's a lot of decisions to be made, like choosing the right business structure, navigating different government websites, deciding whether you should register as a sole proprietor or to incorporate. If you're incorporating, should you do it federally or provincially? How do you make sure your business name doesn't already exist? Once you incorporate, how do you make sure that your articles of incorporation and your minute book is actually compliant and remains compliant? And that's really where Ownr comes in. Our mission is really to empower and enable Canadian entrepreneurs to make it easy for them to start their business by allowing them to register on our digital platform. Usually takes less than 15 minutes or less, and we take care of all the filing. So new business owners usually receive their registration documents in one business day, along with all of their articles of incorporation and their formation documents. So that's really the core of our service. And then with respect to your second question on why RBC decided to launch Ownr, I think as the financial industry continues to face the unprecedented disruption, RBC really embarked on a new strategy for growth by launching RBC Ventures. And it's a really bold strategy to go beyond banking. And the challenge was really twofold for the bank. It was to think about how they can engage potential clients in a different way, really remove the friction of having them switch banks as they sort of make a new relationship with RBC. And so Ownr was born with the goal of helping RBC engage with the small business owners earlier in their journey. Registering and incorporating a business is generally a precursor to that business banking relationship, and Ownr has made the process really seamless while providing an opportunity and a great way to convert new business owners to RBC business banking services.
That's great, yeah, and certainly a very valid need in the market, and great to see the way that you addressed it. And I'm sure it wasn't easy. So one of the things that we like to talk to innovators about is, some of the challenges along the way. Could you share a little bit more about any obstacles, challenges that you ran into, and how you overcame them?
Absolutely. Maybe I'll answer this in two parts. I think the first part is just to look at Ownr as a standalone business, and I think the challenges in getting Ownr started, I'll say, are quote unquote the normal or traditional challenges of a startup. So, how do you gain confidence that you're solving a real problem? There's multiple ways to execute on a solution. Where do you start? How do you make sure you're sort of building small and that you have the right markers in place to make sure you have a direct line, you're always listening to your clients? So I think those are sort of general questions to answer from a customer standpoint. And then there's the commercialization one. So is the market big enough? How will I monetize? And I think when working through some of those challenges, there were sort of two principles I held close for myself. And I think the first one was to make sure that we always had a direct line to our customers. So long as you have that, you'll get a nod very quickly as to whether you're on the right track and you're solving a meaningful problem for them. The other one was to challenge ourselves as a team to think about truly what is the smallest piece of value that we could take to market and test. So when I think about our first iteration of the product in the marketplace, it took us 11 weeks to get it in market, and it was our most basic, registration service. It was just in Ontario only, and it was, I guess, in a way, just small and underwhelming. But it was a way for us to step into the space and start to test and learn whether we were on the right track. And then I think there's the other part of it, which is this, unique relationship with RBC Ventures, which I don't know if this is right, but sort of in my head, I think about it like a relationship with a private equity firm where I am held to account to the Ventures leadership team on the health and the growth of the business. And what I have found to work really, really well is always start independent of the audience with articulating the value that we're delivering to clients. So it's really important to say, here's the problem that we're solving for entrepreneurs, and it's the problem of starting their business. And we do that really well at Ownr. So long as we do that really well, we've earned the right then to, introduce RBC as their bank of choice. Because like I said, generally speaking, business formation is a precursor to a banking relationship. And I found that to really resonate over the years in terms of how the business is growing, why we're moving the pace we're moving at, why we're making the decisions we're making. And that's sort of one of the levers in being able to step through some of the obstacles of this kind of unique hybrid ventures model that I've been sort of living in the last few years.
Yeah, and I love that you talked about starting small and working in a more iterative fashion, because I think sometimes what we see is leaders feel like it has to be the whole thing and they have to just go out with the big bang. But I think that probably helped you establish credibility, early on, to just take it in pieces and then using that voice of the customer as your guide. Those are very powerful tools that if objections do come up, you've got some really great data to counter it with. So let's talk a little bit about, what makes Ownr different and unique, because certainly there are some other services and providers out there that can help entrepreneurs. So what did you really focus on to differentiate yourself?
Absolutely. There's a couple of different ways in Canada to start a business. Traditionally, the routes have been, the government websites, lawyers, and players like Ownr, let's say. And when it comes to government websites, there's sort of three separate services or activities, if you will, that you have to go through to set up your corporation end to end. And it's really the entrepreneur's responsibility to know that there's three parts in three separate places, and the order in which they have to step through it before they're quote unquote completed their incorporation process. I think alternatively, there's the route of lawyers that certainly provide a white glove service, but they tend to be expensive. We know that upwards of 80% of entrepreneurs are using their personal funds to get started. And for something like Ownr, we're able to provide a similar output as a lawyer for a fraction of the cost of what it would take to go to a lawyer's office. So in terms of what differentiates us, I would say we're able to take the power of the technology in our platform to, in very simple to use, easy to fill forms, to provide all the information, all the steps the entrepreneur needs to be able to complete their incorporation process. And then we're able to, by using the power of the technology, pass along all the savings to the clients, and that's why we're able to do it at a fraction of the cost of what it would take to go to a lawyer. So then, we're really solving for time, for simplicity, for convenience, and for affordability via the Ownr platform. We do provide the sort of end-to-end incorporation service as well.
That's great. Now, I know Ownr was born with the goal of helping RBC engage with small businesses earlier in their journey. You talked a little bit about that. Could you talk a little bit more about the type of success you've seen with converting new businesses to RBC for their banking needs?
Absolutely. You mentioned this earlier. Since we've started Ownr, we've helped over 45,000 small businesses launch on the platform. And of those, upwards of 50% of our incorporation clients do convert to a banking relationship, which is a really positive, I guess, indicator for us. And it's really a testament to the value that we're delivering on the Ownr platform, because, like I said, sort of earns the right for us to facilitate that introduction with RBC for something that is very much needed for entrepreneurs that are starting out. So all in all, it looks like it's delivering on its thesis of engaging with entrepreneurs earlier in their journey, solving for a real pain point, and then sort of using that as an opportunity to invite entrepreneurs into the RBC ecosystem.
So you've had some great success, so far for sure. Where do you see this growing, future opportunities and growth, any additional integration with RBC that you all are looking at?
Yeah, that's actually really, really interesting. I mean, you mentioned starting small and iterating. I would say the other side of that is, RBC obviously has national reach across Canada. So I think the couple of areas for their growth and integration for us are, first and foremost, in thinking about how Ownr goes beyond the 3 provinces that it's currently in to provide its services nationally, so we can sort of match RBC's reach. The other one that we're looking at very closely is some unique segments that are already a core focus for the bank. For example, newcomers to Canada, medical professionals. So how do we incorporate Ownr as part of RBC's broader value proposition to these core segments and be able to, again, bring the best of RBC to these segments? And then I would say maybe a third area that we're keen to explore would be really the handoff between Ownr and RBC. So really important for us, very similar to RBC's commitment to making sure that they have delightful client experience across all their channels. We want to make sure that the entrepreneurs flowing through the Ownr platform have a consistent experience with Ownr and during their handoff with RBC as well. So I think that there's further room for us to go deeper there and make sure that that we as sort of 2 separate platforms are continuing to come together there and make sure that we're managing that transition well.
Yeah, it's a lot of great opportunity. It's going to be exciting to see where you guys, go with it. And certainly, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was, the impact of the pandemic on small businesses. So I think we all saw that regardless of, where we live. And I think, a lot of people felt a personal desire to, try and help those small businesses get through it, how they supported, with their own wallets. But was there anything that you did specifically on the Ownr side to help those small businesses work through some of those unique challenges with the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say if I think about sort of our last 18 months since COVID has hit, very early on, so as early as last April and May, we launched an Ownr grant that was specifically focused on helping businesses newly forming to help them sort of cover some of their startup costs as they were sort of in the middle of starting their business as COVID hit or just taking that first step. That actually quickly grew into a partnership with Moneris, with Staples and Shopify. And we launched Canada Starts, which was a $200,000 fund for aspiring entrepreneurs and to help cover the cost of their business as they were stepping through it. And that was sort of funneled into the partnership between RBC and RBC Ventures, launching Canada United. And that was a campaign that brought together over 70 corporate brands, 44 municipalities, the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, business associations, and that initiative raised over $14 million for the Small Business Relief Fund. I mean, I could keep going, and then in terms of what RBC did with their client relief programs and so on and so forth. So very tightly knit in terms of what we could do.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Love to see the, engagement with other organizations that can help all with that greater good, because certainly as challenging as the pandemic has been for small businesses, it's also a great time for innovation. And that's what BAI has been excited to see is, it forced new ways of thinking and working and interacting. So for you all to find ways to still support them financially, that's outstanding. Maybe some people listening to this, wondering when you're going to break out of Canada, any expansion beyond the Canadian footprint that you're able to speak about?
I mean, I'll say we're always looking down south, naturally, since RBC has a strong presence in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'll say, though, those plans are fairly nascent today, as a lot of our focus this year has been on the merger of the legal tech platform that we acquired in the fall of last year and launching the new Ownr platform, which we did earlier this year. So that's really where our focus has been for now. But yeah, we definitely have an eye on the U.S.
Great. Well, BAI is here in Chicago, so we'll keep a close eye out for you for when you cross the border. Shadi, a lot of really great information. Anything else you would like to share that you think would be helpful to financial services leaders tuning in about, either Ownr or just how to approach innovation?
The one thing I'll say is that we've seen a lot of new businesses form throughout the pandemic. And actually, like we talked about, we've actually saw a surge in volumes coming in through the Ownr platform. And I think that new business formation will be a really core part of the post-pandemic recovery. We are thrilled to be a part of it. But what has given me a lot of optimism is really seeing how these entrepreneurs have stepped up to fill the gap in the marketplace, how they've been able to bring their ingenuity to play. So just the composition of businesses that we've seen on the Ownr platform has shifted through COVID. And for example, we've just seen a shift in remote services, whether it's remote healthcare or remote education. It's been sort of in response to a demand in the market. Or we've seen an increase in home renovations and landscaping services. Again, people are looking around and they're seeing where there's demand and they're like, yes, I'm going to go start a business there. And I think that's so powerful and I think that's so wonderful. And I think it's like innovation at the individual, the small business level. And I've just found that so thrilling.
Well, Shadi, thank you. Thank you for all the work that you're doing with Ownr and with RBC Ventures. It's so needed, and I agree. The innovation that has happened and will continue to happen is inspiring. It's a bright light that I think we can all look towards. So I also just want to share with those of you listening today that you can learn more about the BAI Global Innovation Awards and the 2020 finalists and winners on our website, which is bai.org. And you can also find more information on the 2021 program on our website. We are accepting nominations for the 2021 awards through August 23rd and really encourage you to think about the great innovations that are happening within your organization. Take the time to enter and really get some great visibility for all the good work that you're doing. So this concludes our session for today. Thanks so much for joining us. Shadi, thanks again for sharing all your insights with us. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, Holly.